we're gonna go over 7 magnificent rigs you guys can use. They're very commonly used in a lot of locations, so it doesn't matter where you're at. I guarantee you some of these will catch you fish. Now, we're gonna start off with the Texas rig. It's a beaut, I promise you. Now, everything is pre-rigged on everything just to speed this video up because it's not really a knot tying Boy Scout video, but if you wanna know those, I got lots of knot videos on anything. Go back and look at my videos, please and thank you. So we're gonna start off with the Texas rig. This is the basic setup. Now, I just put this the barrel swivel at the end. All you do is pick your barrel swivel, that's it. Pick the type of fluorocarbon you want, 100% fluorocarbon because the fish cannot see it and it seems to work better other than having a big nasty line in there they may see. Now, you want to get yourself a weight. I don't know, it's called a torpedo triangle weight. Call it whatever you want. I have my own names for everybody in this profession. I'm probably, we need to focus, there we go. I got my own names for everything, so just go by visual and not by what I actually say. And now, another thing too, you can get a bobber stop to go on the other side of this weight. I choose not to because I really don't care. We got a number 3 or a 2/0 hook in here too. Lots of people use 2/0 or 3/0, so it's a fairly big size. And you want to set it up so it's weedless too. Obviously, that's the whole idea of using this rig. And all you do is skin hook it. There's another video on how to do that too. I have videos on mostly everything that we're going to be going over today. And the whole idea is you get this one into the weeds if you're fishing pike, you're fishing bass. And essentially it's going to be less hung up on weeds, and that's the whole idea of this rig. Just bounce in through the weeds, it won't get caught up, and then the weight's top heavy obviously, so when you go it dives forward. Just work with me, it just goes like that. It dives forward, you jerk it, it dives forward. You understand how it works, but that's why some people like the bobber stops because they're a little more pickier than I am. I'm not really that picky, so it goes and it goes. And it works great for bobbing the bottom, up and down, bed bottoms, and not getting hung up. That's also another bonus about using the torpedo weight. And a nice flutter tail to get some nice action. It'll float down a little slower opposed to like a split tail. It is a beauty. So that was it for the Texas rig. It's very common, it's very effective. Now let's go on to the sister or the brother, the next rig right down from it, the Carolina rig. This one's a gem too. Essentially it is the same setup. We use 100% fluoro on the leader part of this hook. And then there's a weight. I call this the bent weight because, well, look at it. It looks bent and it's like that. Uh-oh. Oh my God. We are actually tangled up here. Oh no. Okay, we're good. So I'm gonna show you guys this hook here. I gotta focus on this. You can, or the hook, you gotta see what the weight looks like, all right? So that's the bent weight. I call it the bent weight. I don't know what the actual proper name is. So the whole idea of the Carolina rig is you drag it on the bottom, and then this guy will be just dragging behind, floating like this, floating like this. Now this is the whole reason I like the bent weight, because it's less chance of getting hung up while this thing is going like this through the water, right? And that's the main idea is this one. Lots of people do like to jig it and everything, but I think the main purpose, if you're gonna have a weight like this in the system, just drag bottom. That's the main purpose. If you don't like it, just use the Texas rig. When we rig it up, I have the barrel swivel right here, and then between the barrel swivel and the weight, I have a bead, and it does make a little noise, which is a good thing. But another reason you want that there is it'll save your knot from breaking off too when you're going like this all day long. And it's another Texas rig hook. It's another 2. I use 2/0 in most of mine. Just a 2/0, and I skin hooked it, weedless, and nothing there. You just tie it on with just the bare line right there, the naked. Raw dog it. You're gonna raw dog this one right there. And that's the idea behind this one. What a beauty. Now we go on to one of my favorite, the drop shots. No, we're not talking about drinking, we're talking about fishing. This is very effective. I love using it. Let's go. So this is the drop shot, and I like this one. The whole idea, well, the easiest way to use this setup is you want to locate the fish. It makes it a lot easier because essentially you just drop it straight down. That's why it's called the drop shot, right below your boat, wherever you're finding the fish, and you just jig it. And now you can set the whole, well, let's start at the start. Well, let's start at the beginning, shall we? This is your hook. You can either make these or you can buy them. It's either way. I do both. This one I bought because I wanted to try them. There we go. So this is just a swivel, and the best thing about this, and opposed to making them, it 100% swivels on it, so it goes with the current. So it does actually, I don't know, I think these are maybe a little better, but there's a little more hardware depending how picky the fish are, or you can make your own with right in the fluorocarbon line. I got a bunch of those too. And essentially, like, I use a lot of worms on them too, and just like minnow style ones, and all you want to do is just skin hook, or not skin hook, but you just want to hook the nose like this. Beauty right there. And then when you're jigging it up and down, because I'll go up to the bottom here. This is your weight, and this will be on bottom, obviously, bottom bouncing. Picking it up yet? Yeah, it's pretty easy. And you sit there and you just jig it off the bottom, and then the current will be either moving this or up and down, like with the flow of the water is how that's going to work. And you got to make sure when you're making these too, the hook has to face up. Is all, just to make it, well, it has to face. You want to catch fish, put it up. Do not put it down. You're going to learn the hard way. And it just sits there and jerks and right off the bottom with the bottom bouncer. And depending on how you want to go off the bottom, that is how long you make your leader for your weight at the bottom. So that is it. You just jig it off the bottom. You have your hook in your jig. Super easy to make. There's lots of knots on these too. Check them out if you're interested. Now this next one is one of my favorite. We use it all the time. It's easy. It's more so a chilled way of fishing. You cast it in, you leave it, you set up a chair, you drink your drinks. Doesn't matter how you do it. This one's called the Pickerel Rig. You remember the drop shot? Yeah, it's nothing like this. It may look like it, but not really. The same idea. You make your weight, your length at the bottom. It will tag line to the bottom of this. I'm just going to hook it up here for visual reference since this is a video and not audiobooks. So this is the length I chose for this rig at the time to keep it off the bottom. So we're give or take about, I don't know, 8 inches off the bottom. Now there are 2 hooks in this setup. And these rigs, well, these are called the bars right here, the top and the bottom. You make your lines for each one. You pick your bait hooks for each one too, according to what you're going to be fishing. These are number 2s on here right now. The bars turn here too. The bars turn, so they're not going to get tangled up. They do once in a while, but not as much as you would think. And the beads on this one, we sell these in our shop too. I found these, well, they were hard to actually find, but instead of red beads, we got green beads, and they glow. And unlike the other fluorocarbon ones, this is all like the same material as like pike leaders. So it's super strong and durable. And the bars on these are actually quite long, they're longer than the ones you can usually buy and find in the stores. So essentially we got completely off topic because I'm trying to be a salesman, whatever. So anyways, the top of the line, you hook to this, to your rod, your snap swivel on this one. And this is essentially, we don't have enough room. We'll pretend we're gonna hang this out on the floor. We're gonna lay this out, we're gonna make this easier. So pretend this is the bottom, but an actual sideways angle. So this is to your rod, your barrel swivel, straight to the top. This will be your first line hanging down in here with your bait on it, preferably live bait. We use lots of night crawlers on these. And then with your bottom one here too. And the best thing about these is you get 2 separate areas in the water column, so you're covering a little more ground. And then ideally, same thing right here. This is just your weight at the bottom. But these you do not jig. You don't jig. You just sit them out there, you leave them, you drink your beverages and hang out and fish. So if you're family fishing or anything, this is a super fun way to fish. It's really effective. So the next ones are called walleye crawler harnesses. Very popular. We make a bunch of them in our shop. And there's also walleye rigs. I'm going to show you what the difference is. Not much, but they both work. Okay, Cody's favorite. These are walleye crawler harnesses. I just call them walleye harnesses. And there's also walleye rigs. And just to get this out of the way, the difference between the rig and the harness is the rigs only have, come on baby, let's go. The rigs only have 1 hook. The harnesses like this one has 2. So whatever your preference is, you can fish however you want. Now, we also sell these in the store. Being a salesman again. I actually got a lot of these online. This is kind of my little hobby lately. But these are the new blades. Have you guys seen the vibrator ones? There's a hole in them, as you can see. That's actually intentional, believe it or not. There's the hole. I wasn't lying. Most of you guys will probably know this, but if there's a hole and then it's spinning really fast, it's going to vibrate, so it will be attracting more fish. So there's a whole bunch of different styles with these vibrating ones. Well, I should say colors. This is the only style out there right now that I found. And then when you hook these up, oh, I should probably get to the basics here. We jumped again. I usually go a 48-inch, 15-pound, 100% fluorocarbon. And then I have the quick snaps here. So if you want, you get really fancy, you can take the blades off. And you can switch the color if the green's not working and blame it on the colors and not your fishing, because that's what I do. And I have number 2 octopus hooks. Number 2 octopus hooks. And I snell both of them, top and bottom. There's a different snelling knot for the bottom opposed to the top. You definitely actually want to check that out. It does make a difference, or you could have the bottom one pull out. And then usually I go 8 beads, 2, 4, 6, 8. I try and keep, well, we're down a bead, hang on. You guys are going to call me a liar. There, now we're back at it. So yeah, essentially I do 8 beads and then the spinner with the quick snap, 15-pound, and just all you do is troll. Oh, I didn't get the bottom bouncer. We're going to get there too. I'm jumping the gun here again. And what you want to do is you get your own grub. And I recommend you can get some good power baits. You can get some good plastics. Because if you start running real minnows, I mean, you run out in a freaking hurry. And these ones are a lot more durable. They'll last longer and they still catch a lot of fish. I promise you. And all you do is just hook them the best you can, hook them on the way obviously you're pulling front like this. That's a bad hook job, Cody. What are you trying to do? And then you'd hook the back one too. And then you got my hair all over the table. That is terrible. And just like that, and you just troll. And the greens around where I am from, they work absolutely beautiful. Super fun way to fish. Now, we're gonna get a bottom bouncer and show you guys if you have not seen one. I should actually put an itinerary, then I'll be more organized instead of going all over the place, talking about random things other than keeping it on track. This is a bottom bouncer, and this is how it works. You take the end of your 48-inch rig you got set up, you put it on the supplied snap that comes on the bottom bouncers, just like that, and then it'll be dragging, and then your rod line will be hooked to the front of the bottom bouncer. Oh my god, touchscreen, I'm trying to touch the lens. What am I doing? What am I doing? It's falling apart. So this is where your rod will be hooked onto. And this is the end where your rig is hooked to. And then you drag it. Now, there's one thing about this. Yes, they're called bottom bouncers. You don't want to be going like that. You want to just get it just above the ground like it should. You can feel it slap once in a while, that's fine, but you don't actually want it dragging. And then if you hit something, it'll just go over and keep going. So you want to keep it as close as you can to the bottom without actually touching. Now, rule of thumb, 20 feet of water, use a 2 ounce, 30 feet of water, use a 3 ounce, and 40 feet of water, guess what? Use a 4 ounce. That's the basic rule of thumb for these. Now we're going on to the last one, the most important. It is the world's most popular way of fishing. Everybody loves it, and it rhymes with bobber. It's a slip bobber setup. Love it. I'll show you how to use it. All right, the meat and the potatoes. Yeah. This is the most commonly fished way in the world. I don't know if it is. I'm pretty well thinking it is. But this is a slip bobber setup. And the whole idea of this, you basically set the depth with your slip bobber. That's why it's called slip bobber. And there's a stop at the top of your line here, and then there's a bead. And then the bobber goes up to the bead, like that. You guys will hate me if this isn't in focus. Come on, there we go. Okay, there we go. So we got the bobber stop at the top, then there's the bead, and then there is the bobber, and that's what it'll stop. So that's how you set your depth, and that's why they call it a slip bobber. Don't worry about this end on here. I just did this so it wouldn't fall off. Now, below that, you want to have your weight, because usually it's pretty light. So I like to use split shot. It's super easy to take on and off, depending on how light, because if you're throwing little worms and little hooks, you need a little more weight, so it helps. So you can always add a few more split shots if you have to. And one thing, you want a barrel swivel there. Some people don't, but this is why I absolutely love it. So when you put your split shots, once in a while they fall down a little bit, so that'll stop it right there from falling to the bottom. And then after, I actually did that. Ouch. After the barrel swivel, that's where you put your fluorocarbon, and then you go to your bait hook, because if you're running these, I'm pretty sure most people are using bait. And then you just put your worm or minnow at the bottom of it. So in a nutshell, make sure you guys can see everything here. There's the hook. You go to your fluorocarbon, then you have your barrel swivel, then your weights above your snap, or your barrel swivel, so they do not fall down. And then up here is the meat and the potatoes. Actually, it's all the meat and potatoes, but whatever. And then you have your bobber stop, your bead. And you need your bead so it buttons up against the bobber stop, which is just thread that you tighten, that you can also move up and down. And it's just easy, quick adjustments. That's all it is, just like that. If you want to put it down, you slide it down, and that's where it's going to stay. Super easy, fun way to fish. I love it. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you out in any way, please smash like, subscribe. Thank you.